Hello, everyone. This is Max, and welcome to another episode of Max Bytes, my mini podcast where I try to just uplift everyone, bring clarity to some confusion, and generally make everybody feel better after they listen to my voice for a few minutes. So I'm going to try to keep this one short. It's going to be 3 parts, and I'm going to hit 3 themes. And the first theme I'm going to hit is something that just came up in the last few minutes. I'm going to try to explain Trump, Mar-a-Lago, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and what the heck is going on. Well, put simply, I understand that the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago according to President Trump. And while this is unprecedented to do this to a former president, we have to understand something. If you go back to virtually the inception of the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover, who turned it and weaponized it over several years, the FBI has often been used. I mean, J. Edgar Hoover kept detailed files on numerous elected officials, on government employees, on Hollywood actors, and he used it against them. And maybe some of them deserved it. Maybe they had a lot of skeletons in the closet, but he used it against them. I think anytime you threaten someone with something and you don't, I think that is wrong unless they're committing a criminal act or something like that, and then you should charge them with the criminal act. But I mean, regardless, this is something that the FBI has done in the past. When you talk about somebody like Richard Nixon, knowing that the Democratic National Committee was being raided and kind of authorizing it. I mean, stuff like that goes on. There's abuses that have been going on in government for a long time. So this is just another abuse. And but it's specifically to discredit, I think, a former president. Okay, clearly that's what they're trying to do. But anyway, let's talk about the most important thing, though, in all of this. What does this achieve? And I think the idea is under the 14th Amendment, Section 3, they think that they're going to disqualify Trump from running for office. Well, if you really read Section 5 of the 14th Amendment, only Congress, they keep forgetting about that part, only Congress can enforce it. So Congress, not a court, can disqualify a person from running for public office if they've committed an act of rebellion or insurrection, right? Okay. Specifically, that section was applied to Confederates after the Civil War. That's why it was written. So in a historical context, it has to do with the Civil War. It has rarely been invoked since then. Very rarely. As a matter of fact, I think you can probably count on one hand over the last 150 years how many times it's been used. Now, accordingly, Section 3 says that if a person has committed rebellion or insurrection, they could be disqualified. Section 5 says only Congress can enforce this, which means Congress can do it. Now, the debate here is whether or not it's done through impeachment or whether it's done through a simple majority. Now, Congress has already impeached President Trump for January 6th, and he was acquitted. So it stands to reason, legally speaking, constitutionally speaking, they can't go back and try him again. That's a violation of of double jeopardy of his Fifth Amendment rights. Actually, I think it's his Fourth Amendment. So the Fourth Amendment or the Fifth Amendment, I should know this. Bad on me. But anyways, it's a violation of his due process. I mean, he is being placed in double jeopardy. So even though impeachment is a political indictment, and so therefore it is a political decision. It's not really so much civil or criminal. This is done by Congress, and that's what the founders did. They gave Congress the power of impeachment. The fact of the matter is he should not be placed in double jeopardy in front of anybody, whether it's a federal court, state court, or whether it's in front of the U.S. Senate. That's the first thing. In the U.S. Senate is what tries a person. It's Congress, the House, that indicts them, brings the charges. So, but whether or not it's 2/3 majority, which was what's required in the Senate, or whether or not it's a simple majority of 51 votes, the fact of the matter is it's still Congress that can only disqualify someone. So it doesn't matter what a court does to him. They could convict him of whatever. Congress is the only one that can decide whether or not he's guilty and should be disqualified. Okay, that's something that, one, people have to realize. Is I'm noticing people on the internet go, no, no. I'm like, no, that's how Section 5 reads. Go and read Section 5. Do your homework, okay? That's the first thing. So I want to get that out of the way. And I just don't see Congress. What do they have left? They're on recess right now. They got to come back and pass this Inflation Reduction Act, which is basically the mini BBB. I'll get to that in a minute. And they don't have enough days on the calendar. Then they got to all go home and start campaigning. They just don't have enough days. I don't see them doing it. So, regardless. Okay, having said all of that, if they do anything like this, Trump has a right to appeal in court. And he'll appeal probably in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and they're going to immediately restore him to the ballot. If any lower courts, any state courts try to bar him from being on the ballot, he can appeal in all those courts. Most importantly, he can appeal directly to the U.S. Supreme Court, which will intervene. Believe me, there's 5 votes on there. All you need is 4, by the way, to hear any case. So there's definitely fork votes to hear an emergency appeal, and he would probably appeal in the circuit. He would appeal under the circuit justice of either Thomas, Alito, one of those justices. That's where he would appeal. I think that there's really no question about that. Now, he may have to appeal in the DC circuit or under Chief Justice Roberts, because he would be technically in D.C. if it's an act of Congress against him. That would get a little more juicy, I think, and complicated. But we don't know, because I think my point is I think the Supreme Court would hear it. I know for no matter which justice this is, they're going to refer it to the full court, so they're not going to decide this alone. So that's something to consider. But I just don't see it as going anywhere at the end of the day, because I don't believe Congress has the votes, the stomach, or the ability at this late stage to do anything, especially after they already acquitted him. This Congress acquitted him back in January of last year. So, or was it February, March? I don't even remember when it was anymore. So it's just a lot of smoke in the mirrors. It's just to demoralize everybody. It's just to demoralize him. Is it right? No. But is it going to go anywhere? No, in my opinion. Regardless, I'm going to tell you, I'm saying a lot of regardlesses here, but it's true. There's also the Amnesty Act. Go look it up. Do you remember Representative MTG, and was it Green? And then there's the other one, Cathorn, I think his name is. Shows you how much I pay attention to these guys. But those two, remember when they were barred from the ballots because of what happened on January 6th? Do you remember they both appealed it? They both were restored by judges. Those are things that Trump could always point to if they ever tried to bar him. The fact that other politicians were accused of the same thing and they were immediately restored because they pointed to the fact that, hey, you can't do this under the 14th Amendment. You can't bar someone from the ballot because you disagree with them politically because of his views of what happened on January 6th. I want to also point out the Amnesty Act. Go back and read it. The Amnesty Act, which has been invoked since the 1870s twice, at least twice, in 1919, 1920. Go read my Twitter timeline. I talked about it briefly. It was invoked to protect a socialist and his rights for running for political office because they were trying to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to bar a socialist from running for American office or American political office. So federal judges, or I'm pretty sure it was federal judges, I don't have the case in front of me, struck down or restored his rights and allowed him to actually appear on the ballot. There is some debate right now as to whether the Amnesty Act is in effect, but if you read it, it doesn't say this only applies to Confederates during the Civil War. The act was written in the 1870s to restore the rights of former Confederates so they could run for political office, and it voided Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. So it seems to be in effect, and Trump could use that as his defense. I just say, if you keep going through this, they just don't have a leg to stand on. That's why they're dragging this whole thing out. If they had anything, they would have already done it. There are a lot of talk. There are a lot of bravado. And just go like that to them and tell them to get the heck out of here. Don't believe anything they say, because it ain't going anywhere. So I want everybody to stay calm. I want to quickly switch to the next topic. The Inflation Reduction Act, or the mini BBB, basically the Inflated Act. I always said something was going to pass. Right? Didn't I say that? Go look at my timelines. I was surprised that Manchin was holding the line the way he was, really, but for so long. I always said something would pass. It would be a watered down bill. It was $5 to $6 trillion. It's down to what? $700 billion of garbage. That is watered down. That's less than 1/5, 1/6 of what it was. don't worry, we can repeal it. I know it'd be hard to do, may take a few years. We could repeal sections of it. That's what happens, just like they repealed a section of the tax code. It is going to raise taxes on people. The most important thing is it's going to raise expenses for everyone, and that's just going to cause Biden's numbers to go further down and more Democrats to lose. Because, I mean, let's face it, this is not something that is going to help the Democratic Party. When it comes when things are expensive and Biden's in power, everyone's going to keep blaming Democrats. So I think really Biden would be prudent not to sign this thing into law. Okay, the final thing I'm going to talk about, a personal note, just bringing up, I know there's a lot of people that have been interested in what I've been going through, and to follow up on my last couple of Max Bytes, and you can listen to them. I'm posting them on all my channels, and I'm posting them on YouTube and Rumble as well. And so there has been some confusion out there. There's scouts out there, people out there saying they represent me, sending out emails, whatever. The only email address, there's 2 email addresses specifically that I use for official business. I don't use them actually, but they represent me. One is my main email. You can email me directly, maximus4evr@protonmail.com. That's the only email address that comes from me directly. And of course, my spokesperson and the vice chair of my network is Roxy Balboa. And you can reach her at roxybalboa1, the number 1, @gmail.com. Both emails are at the lower section of the screen. If you look down in the description, you can click them. You can see them. They're down there. Though any emails outside of those 2 purporting to be me are not authorized by me. They don't represent my company. They don't represent my brand. They don't represent me. They don't speak for me. Just unsubscribe, report, and move on. Okay, that's just the bottom line. Just unsubscribe and move on. Whatever you want to do, that's my suggestion. But anyways, they don't represent me. It's me, Max. I'm here. I think people have been wondering, am I? Because I was gone for so many weeks, and I explained it in my last Max Bytes. Go back and listen to it. What happened to me and this and that. Some people were thinking all kinds of crazy things, and some people are still going around saying, no, it's, this and that. It's kind of like the scene out of The Mask of Zorro. Do you remember? When there's also some people popping up claiming to be Zorro, and they're going, I am Zorro. No, I am Zorro. It's sort of like, no, I am Max. No, I am Max. They took my horse. They took my mask. She took my horse. She took my mask. She took everything. No, I ain't claiming to be me. And no, it's me, Max. I'm Max. Okay, so I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm here to help us get through this time. I'm going to stay here through the next 2 elections at the very least. So stick close to me. And here it comes. You ready for this? Drum roll, please. Pre-registering lots of people. And thank you so much. By the way, thank you so much. All the love I've been getting. Everybody reaching out to me. Everybody direct messaging me. Everybody emailing me. I mean, if you want to join my email list, by the way, email Roxy directly, roxybalboa1@gmail.com. Huge. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. People signing up for my seminars. It's been wonderful. I'm glad. The love is just wonderful. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. If you want to sign up for Maximus Premium, I highly suggest it. I'm rolling it out in September 1st. You can pre-register. Go directly to Roxy. You got to email her directly if that's your only option. Direct message her at Roxy_Balboa, Telegram, Twitter, Truth Social, Getter, etc. You can direct message her there. I'll include her link in this description below. You can just do it. I suggest you sign up for Maximus Premium. It's going to become essential to be an MP member as we go into the election season, into the fall, because I'm going to be dropping all kinds of info. I'm even going to be doing a special podcast for Maximus Premium. So everybody that's going to Maximus Premium is going to get a special podcast by me in addition to everything else that you guys are getting. You'll get discounts on my seminars. You're going to get discounts on my coming merchandise. You're going to get just unbelievable. You want to become a Maximus Forever Premium. It's actually called MFP, Maximus Forever Premium. You want to become a member. You got an exclusive chat that you'll become a member of. You can actually talk to me directly, leave me messages, ask me questions, and I will answer all of those questions. So if you guys are out there and you like to ask me questions and you know I can't always answer everything, how would you like to be in a private chat on a private channel with just those that are members only get to ask me questions, and I will answer those questions for you. And go, and then it's just great, but it's monthly membership. Ask Roxy about it. She handles that exclusively. If anyone else reaches directly out to you and talks about Maximus, they're not authorized by me. So only Roxy Balboa, and you know who she is. Everybody should know who she is. She is the official spokesperson for me, and she is in charge of Maximus Premium under me. And so reach out to her directly and speak to her, and she'll sign you up for that as well. Outlaws, the Illustrated Life and Times of the Gunfighter, August 25th to the 27th. So many people signing up for it already. Reduced rate on my seminars. Reach out to any of the Angels and Warriors. They'll sign you up for Outlaws. It's going to be great. It's my favorite seminar. I love doing it. If you sign up for Maximus Premium first, you get a discount on attending Outlaws. Love to have you sign up for that and attend it with me. We're going to take time out and talk about gunfighters of the Old West from their perspective. We're going to get into the psychology, the history, and the violence of the period of the 1800s, late 1800s America, Southwest United States. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have, of course, civic seminars coming up, all kinds of good stuff. Finally, if you want to support me, I would appreciate the support, because it's of support from people like you is why That's why I do what I do, and I do it for you. And you keep me 100% independent if you support my work. So if you enjoy it, throw me a tip. You can tip me on Twitter by just clicking the tip icon in my profile. It's right there. If you'd rather, you can use Venmo. If you rather use PayPal, my PayPal link is located, and you know it's my PayPal link. My official PayPal link is authorized by PayPal, my official business account. You can see it on my Twitter profile. You can see it in my Telegram profile. You can see it I post it on my channels. It's in my YouTube profile. It's on my Truth Social profile, and so on and so forth. So you should be able to see it, and you see it listed in the channel there. Be sure it's me. Just click it, and it'll take you to the link. And it's very simple. My PayPal link is at Maximus, the number 4 EVR, no underscore in that. You can even look it up on PayPal. Venmo, it's at Maximus _ 4 EVR. God bless yous. I love yous. We'll keep in touch, and I hope you enjoyed this. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We'll talk to you again soon. And feel free to share it. Feel free to share the video, okay? Or the podcast, the mini podcast. Ciao.